I don't want to bury the lead here. I had this big fantastical opening, which you guys will see here in very short order to my Joker 2 video, where we break down all of the numbers, make some very pertinent comparisons, and one, of course, is to the Marvels, you know, the MCU's shining black eye, and we made a note that, you know, hey, that was removed from theaters and pushed on to streaming services in 45 days. Well, check this out. This just dropped by Screen Rant here, breaking the news after I had completed my video, but before I had the opportunity to edit this. But Joker 2 is coming to digital platforms on October 29th. So it's going to be on Max. It's going to be streaming less than a month. 25 days. 25 days. Maybe they got the early inside scoop on how it performed on Holiday Monday, because, you know, we don't have those numbers quite yet, but brother, oh, this is real bad. This is real bad. But back to regular scheduled programming. Now, let me level with you guys here for a second. 2024 hasn't really been a great year for me personally. Okay, I won't get into too many specifics or anything like that. But yeah, for a multitude of reasons, it's kind of sucked in comparison to a bunch of other things. But that's all right. I'm a big boy and I can pretty much handle it. But even compared to my own disappointments with this year, it will fail and pale in comparison to the catastrophe that Warner Brothers has had in 2024. Because at the beginning of the year, and at least when it comes to verifiable bombs in an industry, they kicked off the year with Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League in video games, costing the company $200 million. They had big plans for that game, and you thought that, hey, you know what, maybe that would be a low part or the low water mark for the year for them, because hey, back in 2023 they were riding high once again. They had the best-selling game of the year with Hogwarts Legacy. They had the biggest blockbuster of the year with Barbie coming out of nowhere. And you know what, hey, maybe you could go ahead, you miss on one, maybe you could just hit with the other, because you have a follow-up to a $1 billion movie, and even if it doesn't make that much money, it couldn't potentially lose that much money. It couldn't piss everybody off, right? Wrong. Because you have the scribe, okay? Paul Schrader, most notably did the screenplay for Raging Bull, and then was also the writer for Taxi Driver, which heavily inspired Todd Phillips. But he went out over the past weekend, like very few other people did, to check out Joker 2, and he left, and he came back, and then he left again because he hated what he's seen. And yeah, that's everybody's takeaway. Nobody likes this film. Nobody's defending this film. There's a couple, I shouldn't completely say that. There are a couple of fart huffers that are out there who are 7 years into a 10-year prognostication that actually in 10 years time, The Last Jedi is going to be perceived as the masterpiece that it really is. You're just too media illiterate to understand the complex themes and the subversive elements of Joker 2. I love the smell of malted farts in the morning. Those are the only people that are sticking up for this verifiable, certifiable pile of crap, because even the industry types that would normally be a little more sympathetic to this are leaving it by the curb with the rest of the trash. Paul Schrader went shopping while watching Joker Folie. I don't like the whole thing. It wasn't so much that he went, like shopping, like he picked up his phone or something like that, and he's like, oh my god, what do I need at home? Okay, popped on the Amazon app, or just every once in a while looked up at the screen while he's sitting in the theater, which normally, is very bad form to be on your phone. But for most people that did check this out, even on opening weekend, like two other people in the theater in most of the cases. But Paul Schrader was not a fan of Joker 2, to say the least, opting to leave the theater to buy something instead of screening the film in its entirety. During a sit-down conversation with Jeremy O'Harris for Interview Magazine, the filmmaker screenwriter mentioned offhandedly that he had gone to watch the musical follow-up to 2019's Joker, which, yeah, we know all the players that are in there. I saw about 10 to 15 minutes of it, the Oscar-nominated director said. I left, bought something, came back, saw another 10 minutes. That was enough. Yo, that's tough. That's rough. The interview then drifted towards other topics before landing briefly on musicals, where Schrader revisited Joker 2, calling it a really bad musical. Yeah, that's the takeaway. Because there are different ways that you could have, musical aspects to a film, okay? It could be an outright fully integrated musical, like, the Disney Renaissance films that have the music act as dialogue. You could have, Singing in the Rain, a more traditional jukebox musical, where they just, break out in musical song and dance, and it's an entire number. This time around, it's a lot of reworking redundant dialogue in kind of a hushed singing tone kind of way, and then even when they do break out into full-throated song, it's again just redundant. It's like, yeah, no, I got that. Yeah, no, that was what we just seen on film, and yeah, this is very much a dream sequence. You know, the aspects of the first film that were very, very hotly debated and made for such a compelling watch, but no, just go ahead and strip away all of that stuff, including the character progression of Arthur Fleck, and then ultimately his dignity and humanity by the end of it, and also his mortality. Spoilers, but does anybody care? But yes, when questioned by Harris if he thought it was so bad, the taxi driver scribe laid out his grievances, no holds barred. I don't like either of those people. I don't like them as actors. I don't like them as characters. I don't like the whole thing. I mean, those are people who, if they came to your house, you'd slip out the back door. Oh, God, yo. Like, here's the thing, like, Joaquin Phoenix is exceedingly talented. Lady Gaga is a good actor and an excellent musician in her own right. It's not like I'm liable to pop a Lady Gaga album or invite over Joaquin Phoenix to play Burnout on the PS2. But that's some of the generally accepted praise that people are, at least affording Joker to. The performances are good. Jackie Gleason. No, Jackie's the character. Sorry, Brendan Gleeson. It's like Jackie Gleason didn't come back to the dead for this awful film. But no, Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, they're good in their roles. It's just their roles suck. Their dialogue is stupid. Their actions are nonsensical. And no, that isn't anything about a dream or anything like that. It's like there's one good scene where the Joker's actually the Joker in the courtroom, and then it's immediately undercut by vicious shower forced copulation. Fantastic. But yeah, I don't like the whole thing. Is the general sentiment, because now we have the weekend numbers for the Joker, and holy crap, man. Like, I made my predictions this time last week where I thought there's a chance that this thing ends up hitting 6 digits at the theaters because word of mouth is going to be so trash. And while that hasn't happened yet, seen a $7 million weekend. Its second weekend out there, an 81.4% drop. Okay, that's awful. Getting the brakes beat off it by Terrifier 3, a schlocky grindhouse horror flick. The Wild Robot, which I've heard good things about. Beetlejuice, which is how many weeks into its run, and it's doing good numbers. And then to follow that up with $7 million. And breaking it down, $2 million Friday and Sunday and a $2.8 million Saturday. It's toast. And comparing the Friday to Friday with a 90% drop, not exactly fair because you're rolling in the other preview numbers, and in the States, I think, the preview period for this started on a Tuesday. So it's not exactly an apples to apples comparison, but here I am trying to undercut an 81% drop off weekend to weekend. Looking at on a weekend, on your second Friday out there, a $500 average theater. Those screens probably going to get split up and divvied out to Terrifier 3, because if people want to go see, a depressing clown movie, if they want to see a lot of violence, your main character has face paint on, you might as well go to that, because at least you'll get something from that other than misery and despondency. But holy crap, man, like, this is going to be a catastrophic flop, because we're definitely, I don't know, for Holiday Monday, happy Columbus Day or happy Thanksgiving if you're up north, it might do a little bit better. Honestly, if you could only get 2.8 on Saturday, I don't imagine there'd be anything higher than that for a Monday. Meaning that by the Wednesday or Thursday, it'll be down in the 6 digits, and the theaters, I mean, they're going to be looking to get rid of those screens, and I don't even know what's coming out next. It's just Hollywood, outside of the success of Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, this is a bleak year. You take those out, and holy shit, man. Like I said at the beginning, 2024 has just not been a great year, because the highs were pretty high, financially speaking. I can't speak to the quality of Inside Out 2, haven't seen a review, don't intend to see a review. All I hear is that it's fine. A good kids film, which is cool. Which is cool. I like that. The rumors where, Disney asked Pixar to make sure that it's not gay. It's like, I like to see that, because guess what? You don't need to put any of your weird far leftist ideology in a kids movie. Just let kids be kids. I know, radical idea. And then Deadpool and Wolverine for how borked that plot and how much character assassination that they do. It's an action film. Most people aren't thinking about it that much. That's fine. But in TV, there's been a few hits. There's been some things that, myself and several other people were looking forward to. And yeah, you got to explain away some of its shortcomings. House of the Dragon Season 2, which I thought was pretty good, but that always comes with a caveat. And then when it comes to gaming, I mean, we've talked about the entire industry, and you just take out Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Black Myth Wukong, Pal World, and half of the run of Helldivers 2, and you don't really have a lot of successes out there. It's been a really bad year. I look forward to talking about this more as we, close out the year, because there's still quite a few bombs on the horizon. Dragon Age of Aelgard looking directly at you, but as it sits right now, I think we got the bomb of the year. I'm pretty sure we got the bomb of the year in Joker 2. Like, I know Gladiator 2 is going to be awful. I just don't imagine it's going to lose this much money. And I think Gladiator's is that another one that's under the Warner Brothers banner? Man, that's going to be another company. It's going to be a race to the bottom to see who ends up going broke first between Warner Brothers and Ubisoft. And that's crazy because Warner Brothers, it's such a stupid company, right? Like, you got the film and television license to DC, to Superman and Batman. You have the screen rights to a Harry Potter book, and proper Lord of the Rings. When you're $40 billion in debt, you guys are catastrophically stupid. But Joker Folie Deux sees a massive 81% decline in box office grosses in the second weekend. Analyst predicts a massive $150 to $200 million loss because, the production budget, $200 million, and then another $150, $200 million on marketing because, I did see quite a few ads for this. And this was one of those films that Warner, because they missed the boat on it the first time around back in 2019 with the original when it just about made $1.1 billion. They just put a couple of bucks on it and then farmed it out to outside investors, and they ended up reaping the benefits. And Warner, because they're a stupid company, thought that, oh, shit, well, we only put this much money in there, so if we quadruple or quintuple our investment, we're going to end up getting all of our money back, right? Wrong. Todd Phillips, Joaquin Phoenix, and Lady Gaga's A Joker 2 saw the film's second weekend at the box office plunge 81%. Yeah, guess what? That's the highest dive a superhero film has ever made, at least when it comes to Friday to Friday comparisons. Because I think, what's the other contender? Because last year it was the Marvels, and I thought that was 79. I thought it was high 70s, right? It's weekend to weekend. Yeah, it was actually 78.1. Yeah, okay, so Joker wins, baby. Oof. According to the numbers, Joker grossed $7 million in its second weekend. That's crazy. Down 81% compared to, its already record-breaking low opening weekend of $37.6 million. Not only did the overall revenue decline by 81%, but theater revenue also declined over 81%. It went from a $9,185 opening weekend to just $1,706 in its second weekend at the domestic box office. Oof. Total of the film grossed just $51.5 million domestically, another $113.7 million internationally, for a global gross of $165.2 million. That's going to end up staying behind Marvel's, bro, because even still, Marvel's shiniest of black eyes, $206 million on a film that probably cost maybe a little bit more than the Joker. Like, production was probably somewhere around 3, but it's going to end up getting tax credits. We'll see those numbers. Actually, we just did, and I did a video on it. Sorry, everything's running together. My mistake. But the only thing we don't know is production, but apparently that was scaled down a little bit. But you had a budget, on and around 300. In marketing, you would think would be at least 150, 200 on top of that. That combined with, Ant-Man and the Wasp ended up costing Marvel $1 billion to produce and losing the company $300 million. And here it is, the Joker coming in a little bit cheaper than those two films, but on track to cost the company probably just about as much. Comparisons to the first film, gross $55.8 in its second weekend, and had grossed a total of $193.5 million domestically. Yes, the first Joker grossed more in its second weekend than Joker has done through 2 weekends at the domestic box office. Because word of mouth is non-existent on this one, at least when it comes to positive talk. Like I said, there's a couple of spurgs that are out there that think that they're too cool for the room and the smartest person wherever they go, but in general, nobody likes this, bro. Like, there's nothing to learn from this, to take away from it, other than Todd Phillips hates his audience, and he hates what they took away from the first one. Given the massive drop-off in the second weekend, box office analyst OMB Reviews predicted this film has a good chance of not even being able to keep up with the likes of the Marvels. Yeah, it's never going to hit that because word of mouth, like I said, it's dead. This thing, next weekend, it'll be lucky to get $5 million. It'll be lucky to get that much. I think it might top out at 150. That's it. Or I guess, yeah, no, it's 164, 165 sitting right now. We don't have the Monday. Even with low competition, it's got even worse word of mouth than the Marvels, which was a total disaster. But it at least was a pre-Marvel superhero film. Joker, well, it's the tail end of a dying brand right before its reinvention, and the drama surrounding the film is more entertaining than the actual contents of the film. So yeah, 175 million might end up being its top end, because the moment that this thing sinks under $1 million a day is the moment that it doesn't come back over $1 million a day. So yeah, 175, 180, that's where it ends. But yes, to emphasize OMB Review's prediction, Joker is 20% behind the Marvels at the domestic box office. The second weekend performed over 30% worse than the Marvels. Oof. Put a cherry on top, the Marvels only lasted 8 weeks in the domestic box office and grossed a total of $84.5 million domestically, $115.2 internationally. For, yeah, some numbers have a, yeah, 199.7. Like I showed you guys with Box Office Mojo, 206. It doesn't matter. That was a catastrophic failure, but nothing is going to come close to how bad the Joker 2 is. Holy crap. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.